See, this is one of the main reasons that I have really wanted to defend No Man's Sky and why I still believe in the game. While it's still been getting a lot of flack, and for what a lot of people would say, excellent reason, I think that No Man's Sky is still potentially, I don't even want to say potentially, I think this is one of the most pivotal games of the year. And let me explain why I say that, because it's not necessarily in what it's achieved technically, but it's the way that it's developed. And I think that the way that this is developed is so different from what people are used to that even though it's a good thing, people see it as a bad thing. Let me explain. No Man's Sky is an early access game. It should have been released as an early access game. It should have had early access stamped all over it. It should have had, alpha in the beginning so people could be like, oh, it's only alpha or something like that. But it didn't. And the reason it didn't, I think, is really commendable. Early access is a genre that is notoriously abused. And people release half-baked, broken games into the workshop or into the Steam library, and just sit there defending it, saying, oh, well, it's early access, this isn't the complete game, but then they never finish the game. And they milk everybody's money and wallet for what could be instead of what actually happens. What No Man's Sky is, I think No Man's Sky flips that ideology on its head. I think No Man's Sky says, all right, what if we were an early access title? But instead of releasing a half-baked broken game in the beginning, what if we released a game that in its own right is playable and in its own right is fun, and it could technically be described as a completed game, but what if we just didn't stop there? What if we released an early access title, but instead of having it be broken, we had it be the first step of a completed game? I like that idea. I like the idea of, instead of releasing a whole bunch of broken pieces that you put together, you build it more like a pyramid. Your first release, it may not have all the features you want. It may not have all of the gameplay that you want, but I'll be damned if it's not stable, if it doesn't run well. If you could, I'll be damned if you could not call the first release of No Man's Sky a complete game. It had everything. It didn't have very much of everything, and I think that's the point, because they built it as a platform to expand upon, to add new features upon, and only a few months after its release, we finally get this update, which I think is the showcase of what they wanted to do. They want No Man's Sky as this incredibly powerful system that has infinite planets and infinite, like people said, it's a mile wide and an inch deep. That was on purpose. They wanted to create a canvas that wasn't broken, because your game is only as strong as the baseline that you build it upon. And they wanted to make sure that baseline, as opposed to most early access games, was as solid and playable as possible. And now we're getting this. Here, you know what? I'll just play the update video.
Welcome to No Man's Sky, version 1.1, the Foundation Update. Returning explorers can now choose their own path to experience the infinite universe. Normal mode is the original relaxed voyage, whilst creative allows exploration and creation freely and without limits. A new survival experience will test travelers' endurance to their limits. Explorers can now deploy equipment in the field. Save points can be built from resources at any time and are crucial in survival mode. Use of automated mining harvesters is recommended to gather resources, together with waypoints to permanently mark points of interest. Biome and star-specific resources have been introduced, along with planets devoid entirely of life and constructs. User interface improvements include an intelligent quick access menu, which streamlines inventory access. Products can be stacked, allowing for increased cargo size. Revisions to terrain algorithms create more aesthetically interesting planets. Travelers can claim a home planet and architect an outpost at uninhabited bases found on terrain surfaces. Bases offer shelter from hazardous environments and allow explorers to put their mark on the universe in creative ways. Plants grow over time, meaning biome-dependent crops can be cultivated outdoors or inside hydroponic labs. Alien life forms are available for recruitment in orbital space stations. Farming, weapon, scientist, and engineering specialists are available to hire and will help research new discoveries. Simple, intuitive controls allow functional constructs to be erected and decorated in moments, replicated from gathered resources. Quick travel between a space station and home planet can be performed at any time using a Terminus teleporter. Interstellar freighters can be purchased at great expense and summoned from anywhere in the galaxy. These expand travelers' reserves, supporting resource teleportation from on-planet and optimize inventory management. Planets can be scanned for resources from space, and the current mission objective can be viewed at any time. Motion blur accentuates the feeling of speed, especially when traveling through space. Traders can stockpile goods within freighters and transport them to trade in more favorable system economics. Vessels can be altered internally within the base building section, allowing row specialization. Expand your freighter with its own crew, hydroponic labs, and cargo holds. Visual improvements include a sharper image from temporal anti-aliasing, reducing edges. The Foundation update brings construction and more to No Man's Sky. It is the first update of many and the foundation of things to come.
See, like, man, if that doesn't blow your fucking mind, I don't know what does. And here's the thing. Here's what I love. This is what I think game development should be like in the future. When Sean Murray put this out, he didn't talk shit. He didn't say, oh, it's an alpha, just wait. He didn't do any of that. He didn't do any of that. He put out a solid framework baseline game that was in its own right completely functional, but more importantly, built in a way that is modular and easily expanded upon. And instead of having to go back to the obnoxious tropes of early access titles and saying, oh, well, just wait, guys, he just put his money where his mouth is, and he used the system that he knew he built for this purpose to make incredible features that I think everybody has just been watering their mouths over for all these other games that have been claiming to do these things and have only been able to do it in half-baked, broken ways. I think No Man's Sky is a completely new iteration of game development that I hope everyone else learns from, because this is what I want to see in the future. This is what I want to see. I don't want to see a bunch of drama. I don't want to see a bunch of people talking shit. I just want to see art. I want to see people building artistic, functional, stable things and releasing it to the community for them to enjoy without having to defend it, without having to sit there and fall back on like, oh, well, we just haven't developed that yet, so that's why you hate the game, aren't you stupid? Like, no. They didn't play into any of those obnoxious stereotypes. And I think they're reaping, I hope they're going to reap the benefits of that. Like, this is, let me put it this way. I'm a half glass full kind of guy. When people look at something, I see the potential, whereas other people see, I guess, a lack of things. When I first saw No Man's Sky, because I remember telling you all, I was like, man, dude, I think No Man's Sky is going to be like the best space game of the year. Like, absolutely. And I honestly, I still think it is. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, that's ridiculous. Like, there's no features here. It's a mile wide, inch deep. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, you don't see the potential. Like, when I play this game, it's funny because that's one of the reasons I like getting my community into development. That's why I like working on development, because as a gamer, if I actually work in development as little as I can, or as much as I can, you start to understand how things are made. And when I was playing No Man's Sky, I was like, oh shit, I think I know exactly what he's doing here. I think because all of these systems are built in a way, like the framework is built in a way where you can expand upon it without having to worry about a domino effect impacting other places. Like, all of the different planets are procedurally generated in a way that makes it easy to modify both gameplay and add in new features without having drastic domino effects that you couldn't even foresee. They built that platform as bland as it could be because that's the starting point, and you want your starting point to be bland so you can build colorful things on top of it in a way that don't topple over in the long term. I love that. I love that. And when I first saw No Man's Sky, I saw that. I saw that that's what they were doing. Now, obviously, I couldn't tell anybody that because they hadn't done it yet, but I hope this is the first iteration that helps you understand. Like, because look at this. Look at how this is made. Hold up. Let me find the... No. Where's a creature? Where the hell are you, creatures? Here we go. Anyways, we'll find it. When she said that you could recruit creatures and you can recruit personnel onto your ships, they already had a really well fleshed out interaction system. They had a really great interaction system with races. Now, granted, there wasn't that much variety between the races. There wasn't that many types of races. But the point is that the fundamentals are there. And if all you have to do to add in more races is just shift them around. Like, look at that. That guy, interacting with that guy is easy. They've built the interaction systems to be universal. So that means in these updates, they can take the module, the character module, and they can let you do any of it. They're like, okay, well, let's make it so you can recruit guys onto stations. Let's make it so these guys can give you missions. Let's make it so you can have these guys maybe manage a farm or something like that. Hell, in the future, maybe let's make it so these guys actually battle each other, and you have a commander of a frigate that launches an attack on some other frigate or space station. All the little building blocks have been very specifically built in a way where you can recombine them. Like, you can take this guy and you can put him anywhere. When you interact with the characters in the game, that isn't dependent on some like interface or some like external object or only being able to do it in a certain place. They built that so it's separate, so you can put it wherever you want. I also saw the same thing with the fuck is it called? Outpost. There we go. I remember seeing the Outpost, and I was flying down to Outpost, and I was like, you know what's funny? All these outposts look the same, and that's what everybody's complaining about. But the way they put these together, it would not be hard to make it so the players can actually build their own stuff using all of these little building blocks. Like, all of the stations in the game weren't built like an artist built one station, and then if you want to have another station, the artist would have to draw up another station. No, they were built in a modular fashion so you could recombine them and create procedurally new stations. But I also saw the potential where you could take that procedural modular ability, or whatever the hell you call it, and give that into the player's control to allow them to build stations. And that's what I wish I had made a prediction about that earlier, but I didn't, because everybody was so pissed off about No Man's Sky. I just didn't want to touch it. The same with the game modes. You know, everybody was like, oh man, it's so grindy. And it's like, yeah, but that's so easy to change. And I was looking at it, I was like, this is so easy to change. Like, the combat, there's not much of it, and you only fight the same thing all the time. But the combat itself feels good. Like, I was sitting there fighting a couple of the creatures, and I was like, you know, this is fun. If you could just make it so there was a wider variety of creatures that you could fight, or maybe you could, like, hire a bunch of creatures and then, like, have them attack it, it would be relatively easy to make this... Oh, what? Oh, man, I love that. Even when the world throws its worst and then turns its back, there is still always hope. I guarantee you that is a quote regarding this past release. I agree with that, though. Like, I don't know. I believe in this project. I believe in how different they are approaching game design and how differently they are approaching game development. I think this is the future. I think the term early access is an excuse in order to have games milk money from people, and I think that Hello Games actively made the decision to not go that route because they don't want to be seen like that. They don't want to be seen as another company just releasing another crappy early access game, milking the community of money. They want to be seen as someone with a vision. They want to be seen as a company that understands how to make a good game from the very beginning, not a good game, oh yeah, it'll be great in 3 years. Like, we're going to make a game and it's going to be fun and playable at the very beginning, but we're going to continue expanding that so the end game is going to be even more amazing, incredible in ways you can't even imagine. But during that entire process, we weren't sitting here throwing tiny little modules that didn't work together and crappy stuff like that. It was a cohesive vision from the very beginning, and I respect that. We do not have enough of that nowadays. And if they continue along this line, I think they are going to kick everybody in the nuts. I believe in this. Absolutely. Look at this. You had an entire freighter. You think they developed all of this in the past 2 months? No. This was something they've been planning to do all along. They've been building this engine specifically to make the inclusion and development of these amazing features incredibly feasible and much easier than it would be for an engine that's not factored in a way where you can do this. This is all very intentional, and I love this. I love this so much. I am so happy that I don't have to be Sean Murray, because he is probably, his life must suck right now. But I think he's doing this on purpose. I think he's doing this on purpose, and I think he's doing it for a good reason. And I think he believes in what he's doing, and I believe in what he's doing. I think this is a rebellion against all of the shitty development tropes as of recently, and I want more games to be like this. I want more games to be like this. So, No Man's Sky, Sean Murray, if you guys are really feeling hopeless recently, understand that there is one person out there who believes in what you're doing. But yeah. All right, that's it. I'll talk to you guys later, and go play the update, because it's fucking awesome.